We have Kyle Wright. Kyle is the #1 loan officer with American Pacific Mortgage. I interviewed Kyle the first time, I don't know, it's been a couple months ago, and he was amazing. I first interviewed him because he was doing such an incredible job of how he was calling all the database scripts from sales boomerang alerts at American Pacific. But now he's become a mortgage coach, #1 loan officer at American Pacific. I think he's going to hit 140-ish million this year. Kyle, welcome to SCRIPT-a-PALOOZA. What do you got?
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. So my script that we're going over is how to get realtor partners to refer you business and how you get them to do it the way that you want. And at the beginning of my career, it was one of my biggest problems that I ran across, is that all these realtors, they had terrible habits about how to refer someone. I'd get calls left and right, like on a Thursday, be like, hey, did Bob call you? I sent him your information on Tuesday. No, Bob did not call me on Tuesday. Didn't call me on Wednesday. Now it's Thursday, and Bob most likely has talked to 4 other mortgage lenders in that time frame. So I really took a deep dive in helping educate my realtor partners on why it was so important to get me the contact information. And we all do this. Every lender wants that information up front from the client. We want to be responsible for reaching out to that client and not having that client reach out to us. And what I focused mostly on was educating them first, and then I gave them the scripts. Education was one, why is it important that your lender is on the deal with you while you're out looking for homes? That was important because let's say that you don't jive well with the other lender that's on there, but that lender just happens to be friends with that client or has a better connection with that client than you do. That lender is in an opportunity to, the minute you say one thing, even though it might be true or might not be true, you say one thing, that client's like, man, he said this, Dave said this thing the other day that was weird. I come in and say, oh, he did? Man, that is kind of weird. How about you talk to my guy, Greg? He's a great realtor that can help you. And lenders are doing this left and right. I mean, it's happening all the time. I still lose deals this way. And my realtor partners, help me gain deals this way. But it's important that when we are talking to our realtor partners, that we're explaining the importance of having me on the deal. So let's say, Dave, you're my real estate agent and your client calls me up and says, man, Dave said this really weird thing, and we couldn't get this done on the request for repair items. Since we're working together, I'm going to back you up. I'm going to say, yeah, right now it's just a tough market, and right now sellers aren't wanting to do as many repairs, or they're just wanting to give you a credit instead of doing the repairs, or whatever it may be. But now I'm backing you up. Whereas if you weren't my realtor partner, I was trying to get the deal away from you, I'd be doing the opposite. Man, I can't believe he said something that sellers should be doing the repairs, or they should be doing that. And realtors are doing that, on the phone. And so you want to make sure that these realtors are understanding that the importance of having you on the deal mean they're less likely to leave you. There's a statistic out there that says that 70% of clients don't leave the first realtor or lender that they pair up with. Well, I'd like to, make sure that that's more like 90%, because I've got it paired with a realtor partner. And same with the realtor partner. You want it paired with a lender that's willing to go to bat for you and continue to back you up along the way. So educating them on why that's important, right? They're less likely to have a client leave them because there's not going to be a lender bad-mouthing them or throwing them under the bus during the transaction or out while they're out showing houses or whatever it may be. So you educate them. And you just, when you're talking to the client or when you're talking to the real estate agent, I tell them, I say, hey, when you're on the phone with a client, you just say, hey, are you working with a real estate agent, or are you working with a lender? And most of them will say yes or no. If they say yes, you just say, that's great. I'd love for you to talk to my loan officer, and that way he can get some information from you and we can see where we go from there. They say, no, it's great. I'd love for you to talk to my loan officer and see where we can go from there. And a lot of the realtors be like, well, they said they had someone. Yeah, but so what does it matter if they have someone? You're telling them that they're working with you, and part of that process, whether they have someone or don't have someone, is talking to me. So when you're talking to them, you want to make sure that they are in that position to know that my lender is going to reach out. And what you don't do is you don't say, hey, is it okay if I give my information to my lender? No, you don't ever ask that. You say, my lender's going to reach out to you. He's amazing. You don't ask them for permission. You don't do any of that. You just say, my lender's going to reach out to you. Usually if you get a rebuttal from there, that's when you can continue to go into why the importance of, having Kyle reach out to you. But typically I do that. The other thing that I focus on when I'm talking to them is they'll say, well, we have to refer 3 people. Okay, this is how I refer 3 people if I was in your position. Hello, Mr. Client. I know that you can go to your local bank, which, I've heard that they have some decent programs. You can also contact a credit union or go online, or I can make it really simple for you and I can just have my loan officer reach right out to you and make it super easy and take care of everything over the phone with you. And I typically have them do something like that when they're saying, oh, I have to refer 3 lenders. You don't have to refer 3 lenders. You can mention 3 lenders and you can refer someone that you prefer to work with because you know that they take care of business and they will get your deal done on time. Or if something goes sideways, you know that they'll take care of it. And you want to make sure you do that. And so when I'm talking to my realtor partners, it's all about educating them on why it's important to have me on the transaction and then what they can do on those rebuttals. Usually it's, oh, well, I don't know how to, hand off a lead. Well, here's how you hand off a lead. Or I'm supposed to refer 3 lenders. Well, here's how you can refer 3 lenders without, actually referring 3 lenders. You can refer just your one guy, but you can mention the 2 other banks. And so that's kind of typically how I go through that. But I make sure that they understand the importance of having me on the transaction with them and what it does as far as keeping the retention of that client. And then also what it does to the client, when you back them up constantly.
Love it, Kyle. And just a reminder to everybody picks these scripts. Kyle felt like this was an important scripted strategy. Phil, what do you got?
Man, I mean, so much good stuff here. And I don't know if people are aware of just how much value is being poured in, right? This is fast-tracked wisdom. This is decades of experience that people are getting in an afternoon. Like, you've just picked up literally decades of advanced level experience from Kyle and everybody else who's come before them that are mapping out exactly how they do things. Kyle, you do a great job. And I think even identifying this angle and realizing that there's a potential leak in a bucket here that could be costing you business if you don't plug this leak is a big win-win for both you and the realtor partner, right? You're helping somebody see around the corner. You're showing a level of competence. You're showing a level of confidence. You're showing that you care about the results for both the client and the realtor partner, that you're proving that you are in this for partnership, not just in this for short-term gain. So there's great gold in all of that. Be careful of the my's and the me's, though. I'm here to educate my realtor partners to give me the details. Be careful of being the hero of your own story. When you're speaking to realtors, make them the hero. When you're speaking to clients, make them the smartest person in the room, and allow that positioning to exist on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And you'll find that it becomes even more effective. What else am I seeing here as well is when you're looking to be able to bring up a situation that lenders may have lost a deal, instead of state it, ask it. You're saying things like, I'm sure there have been occasions where this has happened and this has happened and this has happened. Create a problem worth solving. Use the strategy of when was the last time? When was the last time that you found yourself in a situation where, a really good potential buyer went AWOL went missing because of the fact that either another realtor or the loan officer created some confusing information that conflicted with your advice? When was the last time that happened? Oh, that was just a week ago. Wow. Okay. And like, how often does something like that show up? Like, funnily enough, I mean, it can happen as like weekly, monthly, whatever. Okay. And for how long has that been an issue to you? Well, it's been as long as I've been in the industry. There's been somebody saying something that confuses the client so they don't go on to be able to move forward. Well, big body of evidence, right? Same outcome that you achieved, we just got there quicker and with more certainty. What you're doing that is super intelligent, though, is you're building a team with your realtor partner. Most decisions are made by individuals or pairs. And if there's an individual or a pair versus you, you are highly likely to be outnumbered. What you're building here in partnerships is your worst case scenario going to be like 2 on 2. But quite often, you're now the 2 and you could be against one decision maker. And these 2 people are saying one version of truth. This person over here is confused. These 2 people are winning the argument significantly better. The story math is adding up really well with your strategy. And you're giving people a huge edge by partnering with you. You're taking what is a generic value proposition that everybody else offers. You narrow in on a really important problem that shows up that is rarely talked about, and you're making that the tip of your arrow of your value prop. You're going to win business. You're going to bring people in your direction. There are people like, yeah, that's right. That happens way too often. It's a beautiful angle to be able to play. What I'd build on this, though, is a few tiny little subtle changes, if you're up for it, that I think could add even increased efficacy to what it is you're doing. If you ask the question, are you working with a lender? Typical answer is yes. I love your that's great, and that you introduce, we'll do this, or they say that's great, and you introduce the same thing, but you're getting huge efficiency out of that. We still don't need the friction. If you swap the are you with a who are you planning on writing your mortgage with? Who are you planning on funding the home through? Who are you planning on partner with? If you ask a who question, if they can't give you a precise name off the bat, they're clearly not working with anybody with any level of commitment. So what happens is you achieve the same outcome slightly quicker. You can do an even bigger job without using the my lender label as well. I'll introduce you to my lender. You don't need to own the lender relationship in the same way. I love the 3 steering. I just think you can do it again with increased efficiency. So when it comes to choosing a lender, the way I see it is you have 3 options. What you could do is, I mean, you could take the default option and see what your bank can offer you when they only have a limited range of products. Alternatively, what you could do is that you could try and shop around with all the online options and see what might be able to work for you, with you figuring out the answers to all the questions yourselves. Or I could introduce you to an experienced local lender that I've worked with a number of times in the past, that knows the market, understands what's required from an appraisal point of view, and can hold your hand and walk you through every step of the process. That means that you actually get to the closing table with a more appropriate product for your family's unique set of circumstances. Out of those 3 options, which one do you think makes the most sense to you? They're like, oh, experienced local lender. You're like, great, I'll introduce you to my guy. It's the same, it's just putting a move in there that is slightly different. So what we've got here is Kyle doing stuff that is crushing, and I'm just trying to polish. I think Todd said earlier is, what's the word? It's not adjustments. We're not adjusting. We're just polishing brilliance. These are people that are achieving fantastic results. My job in this training environment is to say, can we just tweak it up a little? And Kyle, could you see some of those polishing moments, just reducing some friction, getting you to the same outcome slightly quicker?
Yeah, obviously, wording it in a little different way. And it's hard also when, you're trying to explain it right here on camera with everyone and not actually doing it.
Doesn't get harder than this, right?
Doing it live with a realtor partner, there's a lot less me's and I's and things like that when you're trying to explain it. A couple more add in there, but for sure, absolutely making sure that you make it more about them, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for. Is I'm here to help them, create and expand and have a bigger return on the clients that they are currently working with. Because it is a problem where lots of realtor partners, they talk to someone and then boom, they're gone. What happened?
Right. They create chaos when you were trying to create order.
Yeah, and another thing that, you know, when I'm having these conversations, I use this almost word for word on every transaction that I do. And I tell realtor partners that they need to do the same thing when they're talking to their clients as well. And I say, if you want to use it, you can steal it from me, you can do whatever you need to do. But one of the biggest things, and when you touch on this with someone else, is that there was misinformation, and they're hearing from other people or whatever, and with someone else's script. But usually how I combat that with, referring lenders and stuff like that is I say, this is just me saying it to my clients, and I tell realtors they can use this on the front end as well. But I tell them buying a home is stressful. There's no way around this, that buying a home is stressful. It's one of the biggest purchases that you're going to make in your entire life. You don't do this every single day like I do. And so because of that, I, Kyle, have prepared for myself for you to emotionally freak out 6 to 10 times. If we get to 11, we might need to call in a professional. And I say it just like that. Amazing. Every single time. And what I'm trying to know, like, there's going to be stuff. And then I give a couple examples. You're going to get loan estimates or closing disclosure. You're going to call me and be like, Kyle, it's $300 more expensive per month than you said. Well, it's probably just that you're reading the form wrong. I'll walk you through it. Or this is going to happen on your inspection report, or this is going to happen with your appraisal. And I give them 3 or 4 examples. And I say, and I know you're going to want to reach out to your parents, and I know you're going to want to reach out to your uncles and your friends and everything like that. But guess what? This is your transaction. The realtor and I are here for you, for your problems. Make sure you talk to us and that you come to us. We have prepared for you to freak out on us. Let us do our job.
I love that. I'm going to give you a little tweak that might set you up for longer term business. You're talking about a lot of first time buyers here, right?
Just anyone. I use the same script for anyone.
If you can show them that you know them, and you can say, this is your first transaction, or this is your 3rd transaction of a home, this is your 6th transaction of your home. And for context, this is my 7,432nd. Yet in all of those transactions, somebody has found themselves in a situation where they freaked out. They've had a question they needed an answer for. They needed the support of a loved one, a friend, or a family member to help them find moments of clarity. And the reason that I wanted to point out to you today that this is only your first transaction, and that we've done so many, is that by choosing to work with us, what you benefit from is somebody who takes a long-term view to help you make not only the right decision today, but all of the right decisions from now on in all of your home search needs, in all of your real estate needs, in everything that is focused on your wealth creation over the next 20, 30, 50 years, call it a lifetime. That's the difference you get when you choose us. And I think it allows you to be able to take the same thing you're doing, set up a longer term view, move them away from the micro moment, and relief floods through the other person, like, just found my guy. Just found my guy, is that you can take what you're doing here and turn it up to an 11.
Yeah.
Great work though, Kyle. Really, really good. We're still trying to just keep polished brilliance, and it's getting harder and harder as you folks keep stacking on, magic on top of each other's performance.